Our next question. It comes from Ms. Thandile Sunduza of the ANC to the Minister of Arts and Culture and deals with threats to minority languages. She asked whether the Minister intended taking any steps other than introducing legislation to alleviate the fears of discrimination and alienation among minority language speakers. The response came from the Deputy Minister, Dr. Joe Upahla. Dr. Phahla said the Constitution mandated government to establish a language board to protect and promote all official languages, including the languages of the Khoi, the San, the Nama people, and Sign language. Many of these languages had been discriminated against in the past. Government had to ensure that national and provincial language policies were in place for all official languages to be treated equitably. Dr. Phahla said the 2004 National Policy Framework aimed to ensure equitable access to government services, knowledge and information. It also encouraged the learning of other official indigenous languages.
Arising from the Constitution and based on the National Language Policy, the Department of Arts and Culture is finalizing the National Language Bill and also a draft South African Language Practitioners Bill, which is also in the process for the purpose of promoting language practitioners in all our indigenous languages. Furthermore, in collaboration with other national departments and provincial language units, the department has projects and programs in progress to advance the development of indigenous languages with historically diminished status. The department develops literature by way of reprinting African language classics, provides translation services for government departments in official and foreign languages, produces and coordinates terminologies in various technical domains in all official languages. The department also has instituted capacity building for language facilitation through the human language technologies, producing applications like spell checkers for all our languages. Our department also instituted a bursary program focusing strategically on scarce skills such as translation, editing, terminology development, interpreting, human language technologies, language planning, etc. Universities which have benefited from this scheme since its inception in 2004 includes the Universities of Limpopo, University of KwaZulu-Natal, University of Zululand, University of Pretoria, Stellenbosch, Free State, Rhodes, and the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University.
In her follow-up question, Ms. Thandile Sunduza welcomed the proposed legislation but wanted to know if Afrikaans was threatened, as some would claim.
But on the issue of legislation that we have just raised, there's a fear which we have minorly addressed from especially the minority speaking groups, especially lately, if you can see with the African speaking people saying that we're trying to alienate other languages. Can you just help us to just clear the fears about that legislation that you mentioned? Thank you.
The bill which we have tabled, its aim is the promotion of all 11 official languages. And it's in cognizance of the mandate of the Constitution to promote all languages. And there is no way in which the language of Afrikaans would suffer, because unlike other African indigenous languages, the language of Afrikaans is already well developed. And the idea there is to make sure that all government departments, national and provincial, will be legislated to make sure that when we print documents, we don't only print in 2 languages or sometimes even in 1 language, but that we increase the minimum number of languages in which various government documents will be printed. At the current moment, we are looking at a minimum of 3 languages, which inevitably would mean that even if a department was to use English and Afrikaans, you would be compelled also to use an indigenous African language. So there is no way in which the language, I know that a number of submissions have been made with the suspicion that in that process, Afrikaans will be disadvantaged, but I can assure honorable members that Afrikaans will be treated like all other 11 official languages and will be promoted accordingly.
There were more follow-up questions. We pick up on the question of the DA Shadow Minister of Arts and Culture, Mr. Nicky van der Berg, who wanted clarity on specific programs to enhance different languages.
I just want to ask you, that's very good that all this programs has been done, but why does the National Language Service supply term equivalents for HIV/AIDS in only 2 African languages? As we know, HIV/AIDS is so important, so it must be open for all the language speakers so that they exactly know what is going on and to enhance the people.
I think what the honourable member has just said confirms the legacy of what we are dealing with, in the sense that over the years only 2 languages were developed properly to can be able to have all most of the terminologies, even in various specific areas such as medical language, legal language, technical or science language, and so on. So that's the only shortcoming which we have. So we have to put more resources to make sure that we can train more language practitioners, and so that they can also specialize in various areas such as medicine and science, so that we can develop terminologies in all our 11 languages. It's just a legacy of the underdevelopment of the majority of our indigenous African languages.
Will the proposed national health insurance have mechanisms to deal with the failure of provincial departments to spend funds earmarked for vital infrastructure and healthcare improvement? That's our question after the break. Don't go away.